What is everybody? Daniel Rock 08 back again on a video. 1998 year in review continues with WWF's Judgment Day. So after Breakdown, Austin is in this predicament where he gets screwed out of the title. Because what happened at Breakdown is he got double choke slammed. So Undertaker and Kane are battling out for the WWF Championship. And he is going to be the special referee. So he has to humble himself and count the three for either Undertaker or Kane. If he does not do so, his ass is fired. Now, the weeks leading up to Judgment Day was some of the finest of all. Okay, so we have the Zamboni, the whole Zamboni incident, where he drives up a Zamboni, takes out a bunch of equipment, almost loses the fee, and then jumps off the Zamboni, parks it right next to the ring, and does an amazing clothesline on Vince McMahon, kicks his ass, and so on and so forth. The Brothers of Destruction, they don't care for Vince McMahon either, as they, on the same exact segment, they attack Vince and break his ankle. Good stuff all around. So, Judgment Day is here, and Judgment Day comes, and it's just kind of a run-of-the-mill show, really. Not a whole lot else to talk about, so I'm just going to run right through it. Al Snow defeats Mark Merrow in a whatever match, 4.5. LOD 2000 defeats the Disciples of Apocalypse. Yes, these guys have been battling each other like a million times over. The only difference is, this time, Droz is in this match, and Paul Ellering is with DOA. Now, the thing is with this is around the time period that Road Warrior Hawk, shortly hereafter, Road Warrior Hawk will fall off of the Titantron and will kind of basically die on off-screen. And it's very hideous. They introduced this character named Key, who holds the key to Road Warrior Hawk's pain-killing addiction and his drug addiction and so on and so forth. Very uncomfortable to watch. So Droz is the main, he is Animal's actual partner, where Road Warrior Hawk is the alternate. He is the alternate, JR. There's one incredibly uncomfortable, cringy spot where DOA, they go for a double flapjack on Droz. Now, this is a year before Droz will have that horrible accident where he becomes a quadriplegic. Now, in this match, a year before, right here, he gets dumped right on the top of his head from this botched double flapjack. And knowing what happens a year later, it is incredibly cringy. It's incredibly uncomfortable to watch. He was spiked right on top of his head. This is not when he got paralyzed, but it is incredibly still very uncomfortable to watch, because this is Droz, the same man that exactly a year later on an episode of SmackDown with D'Lo Brown would become paralyzed. So very uncomfortable. 4 out of 10. I'm sick and tired of seeing this. LOD 2000 and DOA having many matches. More matches than Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, and Chris Jericho had at the beginning of 2017. Oh, joy. Next up, Christian defeats Taka Michinoku to capture the Light Heavyweight Championship. This is a good match, but it's the Light Heavyweight title match. And, you know, like I said, Light Heavyweight division here, Cruiserweight division in WCW way the fuck up here. However, the Light Heavyweight division is still miles and miles better than the fucking Cruiserweight title division today. Good stuff, 6.5. Goldust defeats Val Venus in a good match overall. Goldust is back being Goldust, and this is after the whole... He He was Dustin Runnels for a moment. Now he's Goldust. And Val Venus is fucking his wife, fucking Terry Runnels, the preacher's wife. And after the match, Terry Runnels basically costs Val Venus the match by accidentally. Well, what happens is she gets on the apron. Goldust, you know, the stupid baby face that he is, he goes to stop her from interfering, but he sees Val Venus. Val Venus runs into Terry. Low blow from Dustin. There's a lot of low blows in this. It works in this match because it's Val Venus, and getting hit with a low blow hurts him a lot more than it would an average man, according to Jerry Lawler. Unfortunately, Val Venus did not wear his golden cup that he was given as a very early Christmas present from Goldust. He probably should have. And then low blow, and then Goldust gets the victory. After the match, Val Venus is told some pretty terrible news, or at least to him, that Terry Runnels is pregnant. And, or at least that's what we think, and that's what would become. That she is pregnant with Val Venus, and Val Venus thinks she's full of shit, and whatever the fate. Whatever. 6 out of 10, good stuff. X-Pac defeats D'Lo Brown in another good match. 6.5 out of 10. At this point in time, Mark Henry filed a sexual harassment lawsuit on China, and she gets barred from the... She gets barred, but she ain't having any of that. It's a load of shit. Sexual harassment. Panda. So you have the nation, you have Mark Henry interfering, you have China interfering, and so on and so forth. Sexual harassment. Panda. 6.5 out of 10. X-Pac gets the victory and gets the European Championship. Headbangers defeat the New Age Outlaws in a whatever match. 4.5. Moving on. Ken Shamrock defeats Mankind in a very good match. A 7 out of 10. Best match on this show easily. This match is very good. The finish is kind of weird, but it's a cool finish. So Ken Shamrock has the ankle lock on Mankind, and Mankind pulls out Mr. Sacco. A couple of weeks before, you know, Vince McMahon, he's laid up in the hospital. Mankind presents and debuts Mr. Sacco. Mr. Sacco. One of the greatest segments is like that October 5th, 1998 segment when Vince McMahon is in the hospital with Mankind. And then the doctor comes in, and Steve Austin, he beats the shit out of Vince McMahon with a bedpan. Great stuff, great stuff. Anyways, Mr. Sacco comes out, and Mr. Sacco, so he takes off Mr. Sacco, and he gives himself the Manimal Claw. So Mankind is taking the ankle lock, and for some reason, he has the Manimal Claw on himself, and that's what makes him, doesn't tap out, he passes out. So, Ken Shamrock doesn't win via submission by his ankle lock. He wins by Mankind passing out to his own Manimal Claw that he put on himself. So basically, you have Mankind getting his ankle twisted, and the Manimal Claw, and then he passes out. And that's how Ken Shamrock wins, and he goes psycho on the referees because he was told that he won this match not by his ankle lock, but by Mankind putting the Manimal Claw on himself and passing out by that. 7 out of 10, very good match. Mark Henry defeats The Rock. You heard me right. Mark Henry defeats who would become the corporate champion right now. He's just the people's champion. But he defeats The Rock in a bad match, though. But Mark Henry gets the victory over The Rock, who is no longer part of the Nation of Domination. Mark Henry gets the victory and a 3 out of 10. I'd shocked as hell to see Mark Henry win. And, this is The Rock after his big triple threat match victory at Breakdown, and he will win the title, spoiler alerts, at Survivor Series in the Deadly Game. But no, he just loses to Mark Henry, shockingly, in a bad match, 3. Next up, Kane and The Undertaker go to a no contest when Stone Cold Steve Austin decides not to humble himself. Instead, a whole lot of bullshit happens, and he counts them both out. So, this match, Kane and The Undertaker, this is their fourth encounter, I believe, in 1998 thus far. Their match at WrestleMania 14 was one of the best big man versus big man matches ever. It's one of my most favorite matches of all time. The Inferno match is a good match from a spectacular standpoint. There's a lot of visuals. The imagery of Undertaker doing his outside dive while the flames are as high as they could get. And he literally, when he says he will walk straight through the fires of hell to face you, Kane, he literally flies through hell to get to Kane. That was an awesome spot. Then we get to a random match on Raw where Kane wins, which was okay. And then they get this match. This is the fourth match, and this match is bad. It's a bad match. It's actually one of the worst matches they've had together. Everything after the Inferno match between these guys, they had a million matches together, but their two matches that they had, the first two matches, were great. Everything else is bad or just kind of mediocre. These two just slumber their way through an 18-minute match, and then the finish happens, and Stone Cold gets a stunner on Undertaker, and he counts them both out. And then Vince McMahon comes on, and he's in this press box, this luxury box with the big boss man, the big boss man, and his cronies. You know, the stooges. He'd get trash thrown at him. Steve Austin says, "You don't have the balls to fire me." Well, Vince McMahon says, "Screw you, you're fired." And there you go. So Stone Cold Steve Austin is fired. How long is he fired for? Well, he gets rehired the very next night on Raw. And people get pissed off about John Cena getting fired 10 times over and showing up through the crowd and beating up the Nexus. People got pissed off, but Stone Cold waited a whole day. And then the next night, he shows up with a bunch of weapons, and he acts like he's going to kill Vince McMahon, literally. So he gets him in the ring, and Stone Cold Steve Austin has a gun. Austin's got a gun. And Vince McMahon, he's on there, and he thinks he's going to get shot. He pulls the trigger, Austin does, and it's a toy. It says Bang 316. And then he says, McMahon 316 said I just pissed my pants, as Vince McMahon pissed his pants literally in the ring because he thought Stone Cold was going to kill him. Awesome segment on Raw, but this match was bad. 3 out of 10, but it did what it needed to do. Austin, screw you. You're fired. Overall, kind of a mixed bag of a show. The beginning and the end of Raw, of Judgment Day, rather. The beginning and the end of Judgment Day is pretty decent to bad. The last two matches are bad. The two beginning matches we've seen a million times. But the middle of the card, Christian Taka, good match. Goldust Val, good match. X-Pac D'Lo, good match. Shamrock Mankind, match of the night, great match. Those matches are very good. So the middle, the meat of this card is very good, but the main event and LOD 2000 versus DOA, we've seen a million times. Overall, 5 out of 10. I'll catch you next time for Halloween Havoc, November to Remember, World War III, and finally, Survivor Series Deadly Game. Right here with me, Daniel Rock 08, 1998 year in review. Goodbye.